Good morning and welcome back to the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you guys joining us this morning. If you're watching us live on Facebook, thank you for that. We do appreciate it. And if you are checking us out elsewhere, please remember we do upload these shows to www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. You can check us out there. We have audio and video versions for you to watch. But of course, if you want to watch on Facebook, you can always check that out. They keep these shows live under our video section or on our regular timeline. Looking at your traffic this morning, I-12 is relatively clear. I think a lot of people are getting prepared for Laura, who's looking to make landfall later this evening. We're going to start feeling that rain here this afternoon. We'll talk about that in a second. Good morning, Miss Margaret. Thanks for joining us. Some on-ramp delays onto I-12. Nothing crazy, but they are, your normal delays as you deal with those lights getting onto the interstate. Minor delays at 4H Club Road, River Road, N190. Nothing crazy. Again, with school shut down, a lot of places closing in preparation for Laura. Traffic not too bad this morning. And looking at some minor delays on 64 heading into Central with Greenville Springs looking clear, surprisingly. Good morning, Miss Tiffany. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. It's currently 79 degrees, 89 degrees your high today, 78 your overnight low. Sun might peek through a little bit this morning, but you're going to be looking to get into some afternoon thunderstorms starting around the noon to 1 p.m. hour, looking at a 50% chance of rain at that point going forward. Laura is, of course, supposed to make landfall this evening. Is a relatively large storm, so we're probably going to be getting some of that rain early. We'll be looking into that in just a second. Want to talk about these mitigation efforts real quick. Want to jump into them early in the show. Wear a mask in public. It is a mandate. 6 feet or more of distance between yourself and others. Wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds or more. Control your cough, sneezing with an elbow or a tissue, preferably your own elbow. Don't touch your face, my favorite one. 25 or less to a gathering, and stay home if you're sick. And utilize telehealth to get in touch with your doctor, and try to stay home to work if at all possible. Yesterday, we talked about it. Laura had formed into a hurricane. Now it's a question of how powerful she's going to get. There are some predictions that say Category 2, Category 3, and Category 4. Most of the predictions are looking at a Category 3 storm as she makes landfall in and around the Texas-Louisiana border there in the Lake Charles-Beaumont area. Now, the big difference between this storm and Rita, as has been discussed, is that when Rita made landfall, Rita had actually slammed into some dry air, much like Marco did this year and Barry did last year. This year, Marco ate up a lot of that dry air, which is why we just got a few bands of some heavier rain, but nothing too crazy. Now Laura has a chance to strengthen all the way up to landfall, is a potential for a Category 4 storm. You're looking at some heavier rain and wind here in the Livingston Parish area. They're on the eastern side of the storm. Please remember that Livingston Parish is a coastal community now. Lake Maurepas is affected by storm surge. Right now, a prediction of about 2 to 4 feet. That also affects drainage. So don't forget, especially as we're looking toward this storm dropping some rain in the area, that the lake will rise. That causes some difficulty to get those, including the Tickfall River and the Amite River, get those rivers drained. Also, please remember, cut your grass and then get rid of the grass clippings either in a garbage can or in a garbage bag. Please remember to try to police your personal area at your home. Of course, trash has been a huge problem with drainage. We've come to learn that, especially since the flood. Lots of efforts have been put forward to try to keep our canals, our ditches, and our rivers clean. Try to keep your personal area clean because a lot of times that trash starts in your yard. A lot of closures remain in place, some brand new. Schools are remaining closed today in Livingston Parish. Potential announcement for them to remain closed tomorrow. At home or virtual learning is also canceled due to the, I guess you can say, insecurity with the idea that all students will be able to maintain utilities throughout this storm. The school board's not entirely sure what's going to happen there, so they are asking those of you that are staying home, you're just not going to do virtual school. Not really asking, they're just not going to do it. That closure will possibly remain through tomorrow. We will get an announcement this afternoon. Very much depends on what kind of weather we're looking at this afternoon, what the early forecasts are looking like. Yesterday's announcement came on the I guess you can say, the heels of the 4 p.m. update for Laura. So I'd expect another announcement in that window, probably between the 4 and 6 p.m. hour this afternoon, about what's going to happen with schools. The libraries have gone ahead and closed today and tomorrow, so they will remain closed through Thursday, with the potential to open back up Friday if possible. Again, a lot of this depends on what happens with utilities in the area. Parish offices and the parish council have closed. They will be closed through the end of the week because they do not work on Friday. And with the meeting canceled as well, not much for those parish council offices to do. Again, parish government will be closed. The Emergency Operations Center will be open to operate during that time. Sandbags still available. There is a special time this morning at certain fire departments, and you can find that list at www.livingstonparishnews.com/breaking_news, where elderly who need sandbags will receive assistance. So please go check that list out. The state and offices are also closed, with the exception of emergency response personnel, of course. LSU said that they were going to open today. They backtracked on that. They are now closed and probably will remain closed tomorrow, so keep an eye on that. Getting into your COVID-19 statistics for the day, 144,116 cases have been reported across the state since they began tracking this. 4,656 deaths, 1,794,062 tests. 118,120 have recovered. That's a great number. 930 are hospitalized on 141 ventilators. So those numbers continue to drop. In Livingston Parish, 3,313 cases, 63 deaths on 32,646 tests. Good morning, Miss Gianna. Thanks for joining us. The governor made a weird announcement yesterday. I know we had discussed that usually on that Tuesday, when the proclamation was supposed to run out for any kind of extension or move into new phase of COVID-19 recovery, we expected an announcement yesterday, just not in the way that it came. The governor was on 107.3, which is a radio station in Baton Rouge, earlier in the day, and just kind of tossed out that he expected that the state was going to stay in phase 2. Never got a whole lot of clarification on that one, but he did give the reasons why we would stay in phase 2, which included students returning to campus on both the college and grade school level, mass transit evacuations for Laura, which have begun. Positivity rate is still higher than that 10% goal in over half of the parishes in Louisiana, and the normal amount of data collection is not going to happen today, tomorrow, or Friday, and maybe even into the weekend, due to a lot of testing sites being closed for hurricane prep, I guess you can say, or hurricane evacuation. So it's going to be interesting to see if he makes another announcement later in the week, or if he's even asked about it. We were a little disappointed that he wasn't asked about it at his Monday press conference, but it looks like it's something that's just going to kind of happen after he talked about it on that radio show. We will continue to push to try to get an answer. We still haven't gotten an answer from his office about it. I'm going to guess that they're going to let that report from that radio station ride from that interview. And again, it looks like we'll be staying in phase 2 for at least another 3 weeks. As Mr. Rob DeArmond, our sports editor, tweeted out after that announcement came out from the governor, that's not exactly what high school coaches wanted to see. But if we continue going on this trend, it'll be hard for them to dodge or move away from phase 3 as we get into September. Because, again, when we talked about these cases, hospitalizations, and ventilators, they're on the downtick. Daily cases are moving down. Hospitalizations have fallen a lot over the last 2 weeks, which is great. And those on ventilators, that number has fallen as well. So the trend is pretty good for the state. Just some places that are still on the uptick with Laura coming through, as well as schools starting. They're trying to give schools some time to see what kind of data collection they can make. And, of course, if schools maintain, I guess you can say, a low positivity rate and don't have a lot of kids and faculty out, you'll probably see us move into phase 3 as a state. But, again, I'm not the governor. I don't make his schedule, and I don't make decisions for him. That was a strange way for him to make that announcement yesterday. But it looks like all eyes are focused on Laura and what Laura is going to do to the southwest coast of Louisiana, as well as the southeast coast of Texas. So please keep those people in your thoughts. Again, Laura is now a hurricane and is intensifying as she moves north, north by northwest through the Gulf. She's expected to intensify all the way up until landfall late this evening, or early morning hours, I guess you can say. And look, we here in Livingston Parish are looking at some of those outer bands with heavy wind and rain, potential for some storm surge in Lake Maurepas. So please keep that in mind. Please stay off the water. I forgot to say this earlier, waterways are closed as of 8 a.m. today. So please do not get out on the water, as that storm surge does affect us here in Livingston Parish. Getting back to your traffic real quick to wrap up the show, I-12 is relatively clear this morning, probably due to a lot of cancellations, especially with state offices being closed. On-ramp delays are minor as folks still get on the interstate and they are still trying to get to work. Minor delays at 4-H Club Road, River Road, and 190. 64 and Greenwell Springs looking pretty clear this morning. Of course, there is no school traffic. It's currently 79 degrees. 89 degrees is your high, so it's going to get pretty warm this morning before that weather comes through, and only going to drop to 78 tonight. So even with the wind and rain, still going to be relatively warm overnight. The sun may peek through sometime this morning, but you are looking at afternoon thunderstorms with a 40% chance of rain starting at about noon, increasing to 50% later in the afternoon. Want to remind folks of these mitigation efforts, please remember to wear a mask in public. It is a mandate. 6 feet or more of distance between yourself and others. Wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds or more. Control your cough and sneezing with an elbow or a tissue, preferably your own elbow. Don't touch your face, my favorite one. 25 or less to a gathering, preferably less. And stay home if you're sick, and utilize telehealth to get in touch with your doctor, and stay home to work if at all possible. One last time, my name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you guys joining us this morning for the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. Want to remind you guys that we are on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We are once a week in print on Thursdays at $7 a month to get that in your mailbox. We're also online, as mentioned, www.livingstonparishnews.com. We have an app for that. We do have a coronavirus page, which is free, a breaking news page, which is free, which has state, federal, and local emergency news. And we also have a podcast page, which is free. So we'd appreciate you guys checking that out. Please remember that school remains canceled today. Looking for an announcement this afternoon. It does look like we're going to be staying in phase 2. We're going to be looking for an official announcement and pushing the governor's office for that hopefully sometime today as well. So be on the lookout for that this afternoon. We do hope you have a great day. Try to stay dry. And I know it's kind of a tough thing to say, but let's keep hoping that this storm stays on the same track and doesn't shoot north towards us. And we will be keeping those folks in Lake Charles and Beaumont area in our thoughts. This is tough for them. And we will see you tomorrow morning. Have a great day. And thank you, Miss Tiffany.